As you move into the interior aisles of the grocery store, one of the important skills that you need is the importance of reading labels. Label reading helps you to identify some of the nutritional value of the foods that you're shopping for. When you look at labels, the first thing that you always want to look for is you want to look at the serving size. Remember that all the nutrition information listed is listed for that serving size. So if you eat twice as much, you're getting twice as much fat. If you eat half as much, you're getting half as much. Then as you look at this, the other important thing that you want to look at is the nutrients that you want to eat less of. Those are going to be total fat, especially the saturated fat, which is the worst type for your arteries, and of course trans fat. You'll also want to reduce your sodium and your cholesterol. And for those products, if you look at the percent daily value, foods that are low in these nutrients are things that have less than 5% daily value. On the other hand, things like dietary fiber and vitamin A and vitamin C and calcium and iron are nutrients that you want to get more of. So foods that are high in these nutrients are going to have at least a 20% daily value. So use that information to help you in the grocery store not only judge if something's low in fat and low in sodium, but also to identify it if it has some nutritional value as well and provide you with some antioxidant nutrients too. Another important protein source that gives us a tremendous amount of nutritional value is fish. The recommendations from the American Heart Association is that all adults should eat at least 2 servings of omega-3 fatty acid-rich fish a week. That can be things like salmon, tuna, mackerel, but you'll also find that those are a little bit harder to come by in Ohio, just as some of our fresh fruits and vegetables. So while it's great to get that fresh fish where you can, it's also fine to use some canned products as well. When it comes to fish, ideally we want to get a fresh fish, preferably one that's wild caught versus farm raised for the most nutritional value, and then bake it, broil it, or grill it to give us the most nutrition benefit. The American Heart Association actually makes a statement that breaded and deep fried fish does not count as one of your 2 fish servings per week, so keep that in mind as you choose fish. After you have planned your 2 fish meals a week and your 2 bean-based meals a week, then you can visit the meat counter. You can fill in some of your other meals with some chicken, some turkey, and other poultry, preferably skinless, because that's where the bulk of the fat, especially the saturated fat, is going to be found in poultry. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of lean red meat as well, so making sure that you choose lean pork that doesn't have a lot of fat marbled through, and the same thing with beef. You don't want to see a lot of fat marbled through, and you want to make sure you trim off any fat around the edges. And then prepare it in a way that allows the fat that is there to drain away as it cooks. So bake it or broil it on a rack, or grill it. Those types of cooking methods are more effective. The dairy case is another very important place to visit in the grocery store. Dairy products are packed full of calcium and vitamin D, and they're a great source of protein as well. Every meal should include at least 1 serving of low-fat or non-fat dairy products. So that would include skim or 1% milk, light yogurts, or reduced fat and non-fat cheeses. In the dairy case, you're also going to find things like sour cream and cream cheese, which don't have the calcium and the nutritional value that your milk does, but they're still going to be found in the dairy case. When you do choose those, use them as condiments and try and choose fat-free or low-fat whenever possible. The other food that you'll find in the dairy case is eggs. Eggs have gotten a lot of press in recent years, and some of it good and some of it bad. So let's talk a little bit about including eggs. Eggs are an excellent source of protein. They're also very important sources of vitamin A, and you'll also find some vitamin E in eggs as well. And it's important to remember that with eggs, they're a good source of nutrition. However, they're also a good source of dietary cholesterol. And while dietary cholesterol isn't the only culprit in your cholesterol levels, it does play a role. So if you have high cholesterol levels or have trouble managing your cholesterol levels, then I would suggest limiting your eggs to 2 or 3, maybe even 4 per week. But if you don't have those problems, you can be a little bit more liberal with your eggs. Up to 1 or 2 eggs per day is reasonable. Frozen fruits and vegetables are nutritionally comparable to fresh fruits and vegetables, so they can fill your grocery basket just as much as the fresh produce can. You'll also find that canned fruits and vegetables also provide some nutritional value. Try and choose ones that are canned without added sodium and without added sugar. But even if you do have some fruit with added sugar, you're in much better shape eating some peaches than you are candy bars, so keep that in mind as well. Fats are another important part of the diet, but the types of fats that we choose are really the thing that's going to make the difference between a healthy diet and an unhealthy diet. Liquid oils such as olive oil or canola oil are the better type for our cholesterol levels. And we also think about the butters and the margarines at that point as well. There was a very big debate a few years ago about whether butter was better for you or whether margarine was better for you. And the bottom line is neither one of them are great for you, so you want to use them sparingly. So if you do choose to use a margarine, make sure that you choose a margarine that's trans fat free and ideally contains no hydrogenated oils. The trans fats are the worst type for our cholesterol levels, even worse than probably naturally occurring saturated fats. So trying to limit them and avoid them altogether has been a very important push from the CDC and from the American Heart Association. So again, try and choose margarines that are trans fat free without hydrogenated oils, and use more liquid oils such as canola oil and olive oil, and use butter very sparingly. Well, now that we've taken a tour through the grocery store, the important thing to remember is that if you can fill your grocery cart full of those nutrient-dense foods that we talked about today, the things that you want to include more of in your diet, then you'll find that there simply isn't as much room in your grocery cart or your plate for those foods that we want to eat less of. It's a much more fun way and a much more engaging way to start focusing on nutrition. So think today about what you should eat. How do you get more of those nutritious things into your diet? You'll find that naturally the things you want to eat less of begin to fade away.